Anyways, thank you all for joining today, this afternoon, this evening for you, Tamara. I'd just like to go around. There are a couple of people that are new to CCL. And Molly, I'll let you introduce yourself when you get your presentation, so to save a little bit of time. But Mika, Dima, Bill, do you mind introducing yourselves? So just.
Okay, sure. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. So my name is Mika. So I'm an international student at KCC. So I just joined the local chapter and the CCL yesterday. And so today I'm first time to join to you guys local chapter.
Oh, welcome.
Thank you very much, Mika. And don't worry, we'll get you involved soon.
Okay.
Can I ask a quick question, Mika? When you said KCC, do you mean Kapiolani or do you mean Kauai Community College?
Kapiolani Community College.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Helen used to be the big boss at the other KCC.
The KCC. Kapiolani is the other KCC.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just learning my articles now. Thank you. Okay, Dima, are you good to go? You want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello everyone. My name is Wanchuk Dema, but you can just call me Dema. I'm from Bhutan, and I'm doing my master's in public administration in university. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So I'm currently doing my master's in public administration in University of Hawaii at Manoa, and I just finished my first year, and I am very excited to be part of CCL, especially Hawaii chapter, and I applied to be a volunteer a couple of weeks ago. So, and I talked to Paul 2 times already, and I am also doing an online training, and I've so far attended 2 sessions, and it's really amazing, very insightful. So I really hope to be able to contribute to your wonderful initiatives.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thanks for making it tonight.
Thank you.
Bill, are you? Or is?
Yes. Aloha, everyone. My name's Bill Unruh. I work with the State Climate Commission. I'm fairly new to the position, but I'm also here to support my friend Molly, hear what she has to say as well.
My bad.
No, it's all good. And but I'm going to put my email in the chat. So if you guys ever have any some things that we do with the State Climate Commission, we're doing outreach about some of the state climate initiatives that we're doing, and also we have a newsletter that goes out every month. So if you want to be included in that newsletter, you can just shoot me an email. I'll add you to our mailing list. And also we have events. We're trying to keep an events calendar. And so if you hear of events, you can shoot me an email about that too. If it's sustainability related, climate issue related, we'll put that in our monthly newsletter. I mean, our calendar of events too. And so say you guys are having this monthly meeting or whatever, if you send me a link to that, I can put that in our newsletter as well, and our calendar of events or something like that. So yeah, so I'll put my email in there, but I'm glad to be sitting in and listening.
Well, thanks very much for joining. Sorry for my ignorance of your position.
No worries, it's all good. Not a problem at all.
Yeah, thanks for being willing to publicize our monthly events. Much appreciated. So just quickly for everybody, so we don't all have to do this. Ron, myself, Noel, and Ashley are all co-state coordinators, and then Tamara's our big boss. Helen is the the chapter lead for the island of Kauai with John. Just trying to see who else. I think that's, yeah. Does that kind of cover it? Okay. Should we do the slides? Why don't we go to the next slide, since trying to move this along. So are we going to do connect before content? So our question to answer, to put in the chat, please, is what we want Governor Green's cat to do. And whereas, oh, sorry, and cat stands for not his actual cat, but his climate action team.
Okay.
I don't know, if he has a cat, you can put in the chat also what you'd like his cat to do. So, yeah, very good, Ashley. I like that. I too would like his cat not to eat native birds. So, I'll just say I would like his cat to strongly endorse. Yes, exactly, Ron. Support carbon cashback. I'm glad to see we're all on the same page here. You never guess we were at a CCL meeting, would you? It's good we got a very broad demographic here. Okay, so I think we know what we want his team to do. We're pretty much in good consensus there. Okay, so who we are, Ashley.
Hi, everyone. These are our core values as Citizens Climate Lobby is a national organization. So we have focus, we have very specific pillars that we go after. We are focused on optimism, so we try to be optimistic, even though it's sometimes a really tough space to be in. There is optimism and solutions in place. We are a very, very diverse group. There is, like we mentioned, I think at the beginning, CCL organizations all over the nation and the world. And then we focus on relationships. We really want to build the relationships with our senators and representatives. Building that trust helps us get our legislation passed. And we focus on integrity and being nonpartisan. And we also focus our personal power to guide our engagement and work. So these are all of our core values. You'll find we reference them throughout our presentations and during our work. And then if we go to the next slide. And all of that, our mission overall is to build the political will for a livable world. We want to empower individuals to experience breakthroughs in exercising their personal and political power. We know nationwide, a lot of our senators and representatives don't hear from their constituents that climate is an issue. Maybe there's specific elements of climate that they'll talk about, but all of those tie into this broader climate message. And so we're really trying to get everyone involved in contacting their representatives to build that political will. There are solutions in place. We're very optimistic about this. We just need more support and policy to support those. And then as empowered citizens, we are all volunteers. I think except Tamara, but we lobby Congress, we talk with our neighbors and friends and local officials, and we want to help ensure a healthy future while strengthening the American economy. So hopefully you all can relate to that since you're in this meeting. And yeah, that's our mission. And I'll hand it over to Paul for policy.
Yeah, thanks, Ashley. So definitely greatly appreciate everybody's support for carbon pricing or carbon cashback. That is still CCL's number one priority, but CCL has expanded its priorities, its policy agenda to 3 other areas, recognizing that more is needed, need to push for more than just simply carbon pricing. So CCL has also started to push for policies around electrifying buildings. So basically decarbonizing our buildings, the carbon emission or greenhouse gas footprints from the buildings. Also in support of healthy forests, whether those are urban or rural forests, helping with carbon sequestration, healthy soils, what have you. And the last one, clean energy permitting reform, deals with, mainly it's a mainland issue having to do with expediting the build out of long distance transmission lines to bring renewable resources such as wind and solar that are often in areas far from demand centers. So getting the supply of renewables into the center of town, if you will, or the main demand centers, so we can increase renewables on the grid.
Thank you, Paul. We're very pleased to have Molly Dolphin with us here this afternoon, this evening. Molly is, as you can see, a Climate Action Outreach Coordinator for the County of Hawaii. And she's been serving in this position since December, so for about 6 months. As the Climate Action Outreach Coordinator for Hawaii County, Molly is dedicated to fostering sustainable change and community empowerment across Hawaii Island, working closely with the State Climate Mitigation and Adaptation Commission. That's kind of a mouthful. And with the other counties in our state, her role centers around engaging with Hawaii County's diverse communities and fostering equitable community outreach to ensure the voices of our residents are heard and included in the development of the comprehensive climate action plan. Now I'll turn the screen over to Molly and ask her to introduce her colleagues who are here today. And please join me in welcoming Molly.
Aloha, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. So as Bill introduced himself, he is with the State Climate Commission, which you can call CCMAC. It's such a mouthful otherwise. And then also joining the call is one of my counterparts here on the Big Island is Kihei, and she works for Hawaii Green Growth, but her and I are tackling outreach here on the Big Island. And then we may have some other colleagues, Udi and Melanie, joining us in a bit. So I'm going to jump off and share my screen if that works with you all. So I'm going to go over some of the climate initiatives happening at the state and then the County of Hawaii level. I can't really speak to the other counties, so I'm not sure how many of you are here on the Big Island, but I'm going to cover some of the exciting things that are happening on the ground here on the Big Island. As Ruth said, my name is Molly, and I was born and raised on the Big Island, spent a good chunk of time on Oahu before moving back to the Big Island 2 years ago. And I started the position in December. And what drew me to the position is I really am passionate about climate action, but I really love our community here on the Big Island. And I was really drawn to the position of doing outreach to elevate the voices of our communities here on the Big Island. So that's kind of why I took the leap into this position. And then here's just some of my counterparts listed. All right, so here's the CCMAC, which I'm sure a lot of you are already familiar with. So it's a multi-jurisdictional effort. So it's between 20 different departments, committees, and counties. It was established in 2017. And it's really just trying to move Hawaii to be climate ready. So you may recognize some of these faces across the board. I'm sure there's some familiar faces here with your guys' lobbying and work that you guys do. And so, you know, the state of Hawaii, we have lots of big goals. And through CCMAC and some of the partners that they have, the goal is to reach 100% renewable energy and carbon neutrality by 2045. And so with that, they are currently working on a climate action plan, which I'm not sure, have any of you heard about this initiative for the climate action plan? Wonderful. Okay, so we've just sort of kicked it off. And really, we want it to be inclusive and equitable. You know, oftentimes we are not including our community voices when developing plans, especially historically in Hawaii. You know, things move along quickly. We don't get appropriate feedback. We don't get the feedback of the members of our community who will be the most impacted. So, CCMAC has hired outreach coordinators for each island. And so that's where I come in, that's where Bill comes in, and then also Melanie, who may be joining us. So here we have a QR code if you want to learn more about the Climate Action Plan. And then also we have a feedback form, which is a quick survey. And that will help drive what the Climate Action Plan looks like, whether that's policies, projects on the ground that you want elevated, or just actions within your own community. And I have that linked further in the slideshow too. And this plan will be completed by summer 2025. All right, so the Climate Action Plan, it's really a quintuple like C effort. So they want it to be comprehensive, community-centric, concrete, creative, and cumulative. So big goals, but I'm confident we can do it. And there's a few ways to get involved. So there's going to be working groups starting in September, running through October, or I'm sorry, it actually runs to November. That's a typo. And they will meet once a month, so 3 meetings, and they're going to be focused on farming and ranching, buildings, energy efficiency, and then electricity. So if you have any interest in joining a technical group or the working groups, please reach out to Udi. And I can put all of these emails in the chat. Or if you know anyone who would be a good fit. And it's going to be across the state, so it doesn't just have to be Big Island. And then, as mentioned, CCMAC has hired the 3 new outreach coordinators to help elevate the voices of our communities. And really our goal is to go into the communities and have on-the-ground conversations with people relating to sustainability, but really just meeting people where they're at, right? Because it's so hard when you live in Hawaii and you're just trying to afford your rent or childcare or groceries to sometimes care about climate action. So if we're going out into our communities and just connecting with people and seeing what issues they're facing, a lot of times it does relate to sustainability. It's just not framed with like those westernized terms of sustainability. So our goal is really to be on the ground, connecting with people, and then elevating their voices. So yeah, feel free to connect.
This is Bill, by the way, but so I can, until she gets back online, I can keep talking a little bit if you want. But yeah, we definitely want everybody's feedback. I put a link in the chat there to the online form. It goes to the same one that she put the QR code in there. And let me get my video back on. I apologize for that. And so, yeah, and also, you know, we want to make sure we're available to the community. In the last month and a half, I've worked at 10 different events in the community, from Kauai to Honolulu to out in Waianae. So if you guys have some events that you think are, you know, kind of sustainability related, climate change issue related, definitely reach out to us. My email is further up there in the chat. Oh, are you back on, Molly?
Yes, sorry. I thought I would have more juice to sustain me through the presentation. I'm really sorry, but I guess not. Too much going on for this county computer to last it through the presentation. So
not a problem. I'll stop talking and let you get back into it then.
Yeah, no, thank you for stepping in, Bill. And then another really exciting thing that's happening from the state is they are really trying to remove some of the barriers when it comes to grants. You know, it's so hard if you're a nonprofit trying to navigate the grant world and figuring out, okay, what do we qualify for? What do we like, you know, so they have created a grants to projects bridge where there's, and correct me if I'm wrong, Bill, that Emily is a grants coordinator, I believe. I'm not sure what her exact title is. And that's really to connect projects on the ground to the funding. So really just to remove some of those barriers.
Jennifer is the one overseeing the grants to Projects Bridge. So, but Emily's also going to be helping in some. She's going to be working on other grants. So, yeah. But this is a very good project we have going on here to help link. Say there's a community organization that wants to do a project, they're just not sure how they're going to fund it. Then you could send us a message through this grants to Projects Bridge, and we're trying to help bridge that gap and find funding for those organizations. So, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, there's also so many of us who are so new, and a lot of us are funded by like the Inflation Reduction Act that there's so many of us just starting to elevate this work. So my apologies on the name confusion. So online engagement, also a great way. Would love to hear from all of you on your thoughts for the climate action plan. So here it's linked again to the survey, and then you can follow on Instagram or Facebook. It's a great way to stay connected. And then also, like Bill mentioned, subscribing to the newsletter is also great. All right, and then for County of Hawaii, so they had developed a integrated climate action plan in June of 2023, and what it did was look at the county entity as a whole to see how we could be more sustainable. It's very hard to tell people to drive electric vehicles when, here on the Big Island, we haul our trash from Hilo to Kona. So different ways that the county entity could be more sustainable. But the problem with that is sometimes, you can figure out what needs to be done, but it's hard to implement it. But that's where the real exciting news comes in, is that we have the new OSCAR office, which is the Office of Sustainability, Climate Equity, and Resilience. And there is a new administrator who was appointed in February. And really, this office has some really big goals, interagency collaboration, renewable energy and efficiency, biodiversity protection, all kinds of things, but really holding the county entity accountable for the integrated climate action plan. So, it's exciting that we finally have an office that can focus on all of these big goals. And we just launched the website for that. And we have an Instagram account if you guys want to follow. And then the last thing I want to leave with is, no task is too big when done together. And climate action is really a whole community effort. Not one person can do climate action or can solve this. And really at the county levels, we have to move at the speed of trust. So my goal is to really just connect with people on the ground and start building that trust and listening to what the people here want to see, and then elevating that into the climate action plan. So yeah, please let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to stop sharing.
Thank you very much, Molly. We have allowed some time here in the meeting to have questions. I see Helen's hand.
Thanks. I was just curious, your last slide had Hawaii and Maui, but didn't have anybody listed for Kauai.
So Bill covers Kauai as well.
Okay.
So he does City and County of Honolulu and Kauai.
Okay. That's why you've been talking to us, huh, Bill?
That's exactly why. And
he knew you were the perfect plug. So
please keep me in the loop for everything involving Kauai.
Okay.
We're planning a possible climate community fair, hopefully in the fall sometime, to possibly take place at the new Economic Resilience Center, Kalu Kalu, at 1624. So anyway.
Thanks, Bill.
Good job, Molly. Do you guys have anything else? Let us know. Oh, there's some hands.
I see Ron has his hand up. Ron, you're muted.
Ashley, you want to go ahead? Your hand's up also.
Sure. Molly, I was curious the ways that you're reaching out to the community. Are you going to local events? Are you finding people online? How since we're also involved in the community, I'm curious how you're going about it. If there's any learnings we could take from you.
It's so it's like not one answer to that. It's multiple things. So yeah, community events. But sometimes I can find that if we're going to community events where it's focused around climate action, you're engaging with the people who care about climate change, right? So you're not really elevating those voices. So some of my larger plans are to start going to farmers market in our rural communities. Here Facebook groups within communities are also really big. So connecting with people in that way, and just really going out into the community. And I also feel like with Hawaii in general, there's so many groups that are doing so much amazing work on the ground. So meeting those people and then elevating the work that they're already doing. So that's a step that we're taking too.
Yeah, we also have newsletters that we send out, and we're trying to keep a calendar of events that put the link in the chat too. So, and then we do some outreach to. We're starting our outreach to schools, and so I was just at some local schools here, and also on Oahu, we'll hopefully be making it out to some neighborhood board meetings, things like that. So
yeah, same here. And also we're doing a library campaign too. Flyers are going to get circulated across the state to the libraries so people can participate too, which I always love going to the library. I love my librarians in Cal. They're always we have this and this going on. Do you want to come? And I love them. They're so interactive.
Okay, Ron.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, Molly, thanks for being here. Good to hear all the wonderful things that you're beginning to do. And I have a specific question. I've looked at the climate action plan, and it's nice that it's searchable by Control F. And I searched for electric vehicles, and sure enough, several entries, and it said that things were going to happen regarding state facilities. And there were a year or two in the future. Maybe it was 2026 or 27, something like that. And I just, excuse me, wanted to mention one of our members, CCL members, just moved in to senior residents, which have been recently built and opened in Hilo. And she noted that there were no facilities for anybody anywhere in that elderly low-income housing to charge their electric cars. And so I'm wondering if there's avenues where funding can be got to retrofit those kind of charging facilities which were not available in the original plans.
Yeah, no, that would be, that's definitely something that I think is important to do.
Okay.
My husband is actually helping build the affordable housing for the veterans down by Waikea High under UH Hilo. And I also I'll ask him, but it's doubtful that there are charging stations there, but yeah, valid concern. And I really think that is something that should be addressed for sure.
Thank you for being a watchdog. Good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you can, go ahead and fill out the online form too, and put that in there. We want any and all feedback, so that'd be great. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
I can link all of those things into the chat. Let me do that.
Okay, well, if there aren't any more
Ashley
questions.
has her hands up.
Oh, Ashley does. Oh, I see it now. Hi, Ashley.
Oh, yeah. Not trying to hog all the questions, guys. Feel free to join in. Molly and Bill, I was curious if you're hearing, climate is super broad, right? But what are some specific concerns you're hearing from residents in Hawaii around climate from what you've gathered so far? I know it's early days.
I think the biggest concern I hear, and it's not specifically climate related, but of course it does relate to sustainability, is on the Big Island, people really want access to more sustainable agriculture here. I think everybody feels like there's the land here, we have amazing farmers, but access to local food is just, there's barriers to it. And so like that feels like the number one conversation I'm having when I'm out in the community.
Yeah, and I've been in a number of events, and a lot of the concerns seems to be it's really broad ranging, like cesspools. We need to get rid of the cesspools because that's impacting our coral reefs, obviously, and we don't want to impact our coral reefs anymore because of the water temperature changes and the acidity changes. So there's a number of those concerns out there, and about what the individual person can do. So we're trying to get the word out about the individuals can do. So it's very wide ranging. The concerns are though, and a lot of it's about greenhouse gas emissions. Need to decrease our carbon footprint. Everybody's in this together, kind of along that lines. How we can all do our part and be a part of the solution. There's a number of impacts that we're seeing with coral bleaching events and invasive species, especially over on Kauai. Just 2.5-3 weeks ago, we had that, or actually a month ago now, the flood event there that with albizia trees breaking up and damming up the Wailua Bridge. So we're having those issues too with invasive species. So it's very wide ranging, the concerns.
Yeah. To piggyback on the cesspools, I think a concern I hear from the constituents here, we have Puna and then we have the Kona side where there's tons of cesspools, but there's this big push to switch over, but there's no support for that, financial support, which is going to be very hard for our communities, so we can help solve that would be something I would like to support for our communities.
Yeah, we need a billionaire to step in and to fund all the cesspools converting over to maybe a different toilet system so we could stop that. A really good film out there, if you guys get a chance, it's called Keeper of the Bay. It's a beautiful film, so I'd highly recommend watching it. It's about an hour long.
Yeah, you can stream it on PBS. It's really, really fantastic.
Okay, thank you. Noel, would you have a question?
Yeah, but I'd like to hand it off to Keola. His hand was up before mine.
Okay, sorry.
Go ahead, Keola.
Thank you very much. This is a question that I should already have the answer to, but since I don't, I thought I would put it out there on new projects like, a charging station for the Veterans Center. Is there any hope that would be one that was based on solar power? A big parking lot, get a lot of solar cells and charge from the solar. Is that something that's happening?
Not that I know of, and I can ask my husband, but I hope that solar panels are being installed on that new housing, but I don't know.
And currently there's no solar charging stations yet anywhere else either, right?
Correct. I mean, the charging stations on our island are so limited, which it's hard to buy. We have so many miles traveled here that it would be nice to have the infrastructure to support electric vehicles on our islands. Like I know that when I've looked at electric vehicles and living in Volcano, and my husband was commuting to work in Kona at one point, it's just hard when there's no charging stations along the way.
Could I put in just a suggestion? In the last 2 places that I've lived, all I asked for was if they would put in a 240 outlet near where I park. And so I have my own plug-in that I can use, but they don't have to put in all the charging station stuff.
Yeah. I know that and I don't know if this is happening for County of Hawaii, but I know that Honolulu, they're talking about doing like the pole chargers so that it's easier infrastructure to get up and running, and then it takes up less space. So that's something they're looking into.
I can share so many stories about what we're doing to address the EV charging infrastructure gap that we have here on this island and across the state, but that's for a different meeting. I have a question, Molly, and also Bill. So, this organization, as well as other organizations that are focused on sustainability, on climate, we clearly have this shared, this overlapping mission, right? And I'm curious about what we might be able to do collaborating with you and the other, the groups across the state in furthering your efforts, but also creating synergy with what we're trying to do. So is there a strategy within your team to identify how you might be able to work with other nonprofits and other groups that have this shared mission? Is there an effort within your group or a strategy to do that?
There's definitely the talk about the effort, but we have not strategized, unless, Bill, you feel otherwise. I know, like, within our entity and like with the Oscar office, that's something that we really want to be doing because there's so many people doing the work that we all need to bridge together. But we've just started having those conversations, especially coming off of the sustainability summit too.
Yeah. This is part of the strategy, though, just by having Molly present is part of our strategy, doing this sort of outreach, putting in the chats, all of our, our contact information, putting out there on we have a web presence on our calendar and also the climate.hawaii.gov website. So this is kind of all a part of our strategy a little bit that we're just now beginning, and to make these connections to the various organizations and doing the outreach and getting out in the community. So we are just now beginning that process, but this is part of our strategy.
Yeah. And Noel, I know you and I have connected before, especially with the Sustainability Summit, but I would love for there to be like a continued conversation with a lot of the people that were at the summit, and then even involving more of the groups that are here and just like having consistent conversations. So that we, that's also where we build the trust, is consistency and continuing to deepen the connections here.
Thank you. Thanks.
Any other questions before we move on in our agenda?
So let me, since I think I have the next slides or whatever, I'd just like first thank all of you folks for being here, and say that I think I speak on behalf of all of us that we definitely like to, continue the conversations and see how we could work with you, as Noel is saying. However, I don't know if that means eventually you folks get an outreach coordinator or what have you to reach out to the nonprofits and can kind of leverage us to help with what you're trying to do.
Absolutely, yeah. And please reach out to like any one of us at any point too, or like if you feel like there's a connection of like a group that we should be connecting with, like please reach out to us and connect us with those people. That's what we're here to do and what we want to do.
Great.
Well, thank you.
Thanks again for presenting tonight, taking time out of, I'm sure it's been a long day already, so thanks for spending a little bit longer with us.
No, thanks for having me, and I'm really sorry about my computer dying in the middle of that presentation.
No worries.
Problem.
And we want to thank you guys for all your efforts and everything that you guys do. We
Absolutely.
really appreciate it. We're all in this together, and we all can be a part of the solution.
Okay, well, speaking of which, we'll now provide you with an opportunity to get involved if you'd like. So CCL, the last, Citizens Climate Lobby. So lobbying is a big part of our activity. We've started doing some at the local level, but I'm going to focus now on our efforts at the national level. And so we have one of our big 2 Lobby Day events coming up June 8th through the 11th. And on the 11th, we will descend on Capitol Hill, about 1,000 of us throughout the country, as we try and meet with all our members of Congress. So in all seriousness, if this is something, as I go through this, that interests you folks, please let us know, because it's great if we can bring in folks that are, viewed as influencers in the community. It just gives more power to these lobby meetings. And in general, I think what somewhat sets CCL apart often from other organizations is just the style in which we conduct our lobby meetings. They're always respectful. They start out with an appreciation, and they're nonpartisan, right? So again, going back to, we try to meet with every member of Congress that there is, right? So on both sides. Because going back to what I think you said, Bill, or you were saying, Molly, or maybe both of you, it's going to take all of us to get serious climate legislation through and get serious action to take place. So all of these, these meetings with our members of Congress to build and strengthen relationships with our MOCs. And Ron, I'll let you say your quote here.
Oh yeah, I think Molly kind of alluded to it earlier when she said relationships proceed at the speed of trust. And that's a wonderful quote. And CCL's leadership has told us that CCL is betting the farm on relationships. So we're right there with you, Molly, on that wavelength.
Thanks, Ron. Noah, we can go to the next slide here. So just a little overview. I know some of you are seasoned veterans at this, and some of you have never been to a lobby meeting. So just kind of want to go over the flow and the roles in the lobby meeting. So CCL has kind of set up this nice little grid to hopefully make it a little bit easier to understand how we conduct our lobby meetings. So the first column being the beginning section of the meeting, the middle, and then the end. The roles I've put in red, and the kind of the flow part, or the topic area, in black. So kind of like any meeting, starting off with an introduction. And we also want to do a time check to make sure the member of Congress, how much time is allotted. As I alluded to, we have an appreciation. We have somebody who has that role in the meeting. We share updates, what's been going on with CCL in whatever the local area is, Hawaii, obviously, for us. So there's somebody who has that role of updating. And then we get into kind of the meat of the lobby meeting, where this is where we make our ask, which is generally focused around a piece or multiple pieces of legislation that we would like the member of Congress to either co-sponsor or somehow push along, somehow promote with their colleagues. And so this time around, we will probably be asking something around permitting reform that I mentioned earlier. And then also climate and trade. So focusing on the international issues, trying to bring other countries along in reducing their emissions. So that involves all the participants in the lobby meetings, which I should have said probably run from 6 to 8 people, volunteers, or just regular citizens like ourselves in the lobby meetings. And then time permitting, we may have a secondary ask, a second piece of legislation that we're pushing. And then just kind of, as a typical meeting, wrapping up with a thank you and kind of figuring out what are next steps, and hopefully getting a photo there. Also an important role as people are thinking about how they want to participate in these lobby meetings. If you don't want to say anything, always happy to have people who want to take notes, since I think that's one of the most challenging things in these meetings. We can go on.
Hey, Paul.
Now. Oh, yeah, sure.
Quick question. So how long do these last?
So typically the meetings are 30 minutes. Sometimes we have legislators. Sometimes we've had offices, as Ron can attest, where the meetings have gone on for an hour and a half. But generally they're 30 minutes, 30 minutes long. So just a brief overview in terms of who our members of Congress are and who have a chance to meet with their offices. We have Representative Ed Case, who covers most of Oahu. And then Jill Takuda is District 2, who is the representative for all the other islands and a fraction of Oahu. And then Brian Schatz is the senior senator. Maisie Hirono is the junior senator. We have meetings already set up with some of the legislators. Ashley, I don't know if you've heard back from Hirono's office, but we have Schatz at 8:30 in the morning on Tuesday, the 11th. We have Rep Takuda 10:30 on the 11th as well. And both of those, we are very fortunate that they, at least as of now, will be with the members of Congress. So that's often we only get to meet with the staffers. So this is really a great opportunity. We get to meet with both representatives in person. Ashley, if you want to speak up, or if a meeting's been scheduled. And
Still
sorry,
working on it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So hopefully you hear from that. And then Representative Case will, I think I misspoke here. Representative Case will be on the Wednesday. Nobody needs to wake up at 4 in the morning unless they really can't sleep well, or they had a great party to go to that night and want to continue to stay up. Though I don't advise showing up drunk. Anyways, so this is kind of my invitation, as I mentioned before. If you are interested in participating in 1 up to 4 of the lobby meetings, assuming we can get them to all be hybrids, please let either Ashley, myself, or Ron know, and we can put our emails in the chat in a little bit here. But I just want to say, I know we have some new folks who haven't lobbied before. There are many roles that you can either speak a lot or not speak really at all. Do nothing more than just introduce yourself and listen in. So really encourage everybody to participate if they have the time. It's a great opportunity. It's very inspiring. Definitely, I think one of the most exciting elements of CCL, just to be in these lobby meetings, and I think feel the closest you can to policy making. So, and then also let me make a pitch. I know Hawaii is far from DC, but should anybody like to go to the conference, Ashley and I would like to have other people from Hawaii. I'm sure Ashley would really like other people to come from Hawaii. She didn't want to be around me the whole time. So, if you can, and we'll put a link in the chat as well, or somebody can. 5:20 Monday is the closing time. But again, if you can, or if you have questions, again, feel free to reach out to Ashley, me, Ron, or Noel with any questions about it, or Tamara for that matter. And for those, recognize, as I said, it's far, it's expensive to get there. It's a big time commitment. So next best alternative is if you can tune in to some of the breakout sessions or some of the sessions for the conference. The ones that start in the afternoon, so after 7 in the morning, probably be the best. But there'll be an email link coming out soon, I think, once the registration for in-person closes. Oh, and sorry, one other thing. Well, I guess I kind of said, but also what to think about with the lobby teams. As I said, I'll just make another pitch. It's open to all, right? Young, old, men, women, what have you, whatever your background. And it's the more diverse we can make the group, the better it is. So I think that kind of goes back to what Molly was saying, how trying to reach all elements of the, all demographics within the community. We'd like to be able to do that in the lobby meetings as well. So for those who can and want to participate, there are trainings to help you feel more comfortable about lobbying. There are also great reviews for those of us who've done it before. So the link here, which we can put in the chat, will take you to all the various, through there can get to all the training events. I will put in a list of all the direct links. I think that's enough of that.
Hey, Paul, could I just ask a question?
Sure.
I'm wondering, I didn't hear anything about any that you're concerned about flying, about the carbon that you're putting out into the air by flying. And I know the planes are going to go anyway, but should we contribute to that? Shouldn't that be one of the issues? I've been with Surfrider. I've been to their lobbying on the Hill twice. Once was by video back in the COVID days, and the other one was a trip to DC. And I thought I got a whole lot more out of the videos than I did out of going to DC and running through all those buildings and trying to get to the right room. And it just seemed like you could think more about what you wanted to say to people instead of which room and how am I not going to get lost, and and you're putting out a whole lot of carbon just to fly there. And should CCL be doing that?
Yeah, Rita, I think I can answer that on behalf of our executive director, who also answered that question. And the huge policy changes that are needed at the national level, for example, the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act, if that were to pass, it would be such a powerful tool to reduce the United States' greenhouse gas emissions that it's worth a half a dozen planefuls of lobbyists to go to DC to make that happen.
And you think that that's more, going there in person is more effective than doing it online?
Yes.
Okay. See, I didn't feel that. I felt like I was talking with the actual people one-to-one when we were doing it online. And when we were in DC, I did not, well, with Jill Takuda, I felt that she heard us. But with the others, it was a waste of time.
So
yeah.
I'll say, Ruta, I agree. I feel somewhat conflicted myself that on the one hand, right, we're arguing for reducing greenhouse gas emissions while contributing in probably one of the worst ways in flying. So anyways, I appreciate your, what you have to say. I guess for me, the decision, I think Tamara has put it in the chat well, that I'll just read from what she's saying, that when 1,000 of us show up on one day, it makes a huge, huge impact. I think going to Ron's point. Another thing I'll say is that we can't get all the meetings to be hybrid meetings. So we can't meet with the offices through Zoom necessarily. So we are getting meetings there that we wouldn't get otherwise, I guess, that people couldn't see. And I guess the last thing I'll put, and I don't have a link, but there are ways, I know people have different views on it, but one can purchase carbon offsets. So a way to try and neutralize the environmental harm that we're causing by flying.
Thank you.
How much is an offset for a round trip to Washington?
There are, the websites that offer offsets, typically, Keola, have a calculator, and it's where are you flying from? To, is it a round trip? Are there stopovers along the way? Are you flying first class or economy? And you plug in those details, and then the website will say, well, you would be able to offset your portion of that trip by X number of dollars.
It feels a little bit like back in the, whatever it was, 1500s, 1600s, when good old Catholics could just pay in order to get to heaven.
Yeah, depending on your religious beliefs, that may have worked.
Okay, before we go too far afield and get ourselves into real trouble, Keith, you want to talk about events? If Keith's here, or
is Keith here?
Oh yes, coming here.
Yeah, we're almost out of time, so we'll be
quickly.
Quick.
Yes, the Maui Energy Conference is next week, May 22nd and 23rd. Of course, you've been kind of discussing a little bit about the National CCL Conference, June 7th through the 10th. Lobbying Day, of course, is June 11th and 12th. And Washington State CCL postcards, June 11th through October.
So sorry, Keith, I threw that on there, so catching you off guard.
Say more.
Yeah. I don't know if folks know, but Washington State has its own carbon pricing program. It's basically a cap and trade program, and the money, I don't think the money really can't go back to people as carbon cashback in Hawaii or the national program would be, because Washington State doesn't have income tax, so it becomes very difficult. So the money does try and go back to, I believe, help in climate mitigating activities. And the problem is that there is an individual who wants to repeal that law. And so Washington, the CCL folks in Washington are asking for support to send postcards to work against the repeal. So vote no on, and I can't remember the initiative, but
I-137.
Okay. So folks who want to, yes, thank you, Tamara. Folks who want to do that, please let us know, because as others have said, I mean, if that gets repealed, that's going to make it really hard at the national level, make it hard with Hawaii, and then therefore at the national level. Molly, sorry, I know you've had your hand up for a bit here. So.
No worries. I just wanted to plug an event that's happening on the Big Island this weekend. It's the Hala Festival being put on by Big Island Invasive Species Committee, and it's the first ever Hala Festival, and they're really highlighting the cultural significance of hala, as well as the threat to hala, with the CRB, and really they're bringing cultural practitioners who know weaving. They have hala plant giveaways and workshops, and there's a lot of conservation groups that'll be there and a lot of cool nonprofits. So if you're on the Big Island this weekend at Maku'u Market down in Puna from 10 to 2, it's just a wonderful event that they're hoping to have annually.
Great.
Thank you, Molly.
Thanks, Molly.
You're welcome.
So I don't know, Noel, we're, I guess, not sure what to say, except to get this moving, here's a list of resolutions that our local CCL have supported, that passed. Ones around, reducing emissions in various ways. Unfortunately, I mean, these are just resolutions, but trying to make progress where we can here. We can go on, Noel.
Yeah, I'll make this really brief. So for those of you who are new to this meeting or CCL, there is a committee that is focused on writing letters to the editor, op-eds, essays, and also posting on social media and our website, doing blog posts, etc. So recently we had 2 publications. Stop Burning. These are Honolulu Star advertisers, so quite a broad reach. And then there was Think Tech Hawaii Code Green. We had Paul and Ashley on that talk show. And then also social media updates. We have presence on Instagram and Facebook, and there is an ongoing campaign to get the word out. Just wanted to share that and thank Virginia and the others who are contributing greatly to these efforts.
Hi, I know we're over time, but we do have a May climate action. Let me get the link. This is writing your Congress about new carbon pricing research that came out. So this is one of the main pillars of CCL. And if we go to the CCL website, it's very, very quick to take an action. And the website will help you navigate to which representatives you should be messaging. So I'm going to post a link. When you go to that link, on the right-hand side, you're going to click Take Action on the website, and it just pops up. Since I'm already logged in, I just say I'm already subscribed. Otherwise, you'll put in your address so it can locate your representative. And then it has a pre-written message. We do encourage you to customize it. We find that does work better. But if you're short on time, you can just hit send the message, and it'll send to your representatives, telling them that you care about this new research about pricing on carbon. So the website has a lot more detail on what all is in it. Feel free to look at the research. Super interesting, and good to see more support coming out for carbon pricing. And
Sorry,
I think
so I'm
that's
going to
it.
put everybody on the spot here. So who has not taken that action? So everybody. Okay, so
I'm clicking it right now.
Yeah, so I'll put it in the chat again. Here's your chance to feel that you've contributed, to the environment today. So going back to the conference, Ben, I think you're still with us, or at least your window is okay. Great. So I told Ben that I'll let you give a little bit about your background, but Ben would like to go to the CCL conference. But Ben is a recent graduate from UC Davis, so my guess is has a little bit of debt and, trying to, anyways, could use a little bit of financial help. Again, I'll let you make the pitch, Ben, but it'd be great if, if folks want to help him get back to DC. So Ben, go ahead, make your.
Yeah, thanks for carving out the time here at the end to give my little pitch. So I had the opportunity to actually attend the conference last year, and it was my first time lobbying, and I found it to be a very inspiring and transformative experience that really motivated me into my work here on Kauai with global algae, working on algae biofuel, and kind of springboarding off of my environmental science work at UC Davis, and just further motivating me to get involved in climate from a work perspective, but also continuing to get involved, lobbying our congressional offices to, pass climate legislation. And during my lobbying experience, I was just amazed at the opportunities for collaboration across the aisle, talking to, Republican offices and Democrat offices, and seeing, the synergies and connections between, what those offices were trying to do. And that was really inspiring and just reaffirmed my understanding of like the power of lobbying and really that in-person connection you can have with people. So, unfortunately, I do lack the necessary finances to, fund that cost of travel to get there this year and have that experience again. And I'd graciously appreciate any support from the CCL community to, make that dream a reality. And if not, I'm motivated to participate virtually on those lobby meetings and try to help as I can and make a meaningful impact. So, yeah.
So, so Ben, we were talking a little bit beforehand and thinking that if you wanted to set up a GoFundMe page, then we'd be happy to send the link around. it may be best to do it in a way which I think can be done for folks to pledge the money. And then if the necessary funds come about, then you know, the funds can go through, you can buy the ticket or what have you.
Yeah.
To get you back there. And I believe Tamara is helping, it's no guarantee, but is looking into trying to do what you were able to do last year with getting a room. So working on that part. So my guess is my hope would be that the money that we need is the only money that you would need would be for the airfare. Or let me just also throw it out there, if, you know, folks have, I think you were saying, Ben, 70,000 miles on Alaska, or I don't know what United, if it's better or worse, but, or whatever other air carrier, I assume that's okay with you too, right? Another possibility?
Yeah. I'm open to creative solutions.
Okay. And as Tamara is putting in the chat, also recognize that need to do this quickly since registration closes in 5 days. So
understood.
Anyways, if folks have any questions for Ben or any questions or otherwise, I'm done. But
I always like to say at this point, if you would like to save the chats, there is 3 dots, click on them, and up comes a little choice to save the chat to your computer.
Thank you for that tidbit. I had no idea you could do that in Zoom.
Yeah.
It's so nice to learn something new every day. So thank you.
Sure, you're welcome, Molly. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, mahalo for having us. And I just want to echo Bill and thank you for all of the work that you folks do. Really appreciate it.
Do you know where that chat goes to? What folder it sends it to? Is it in the Zoom folder?
Yeah, it goes to your computer. If you search on your computer and you look, you'll see meeting chat save. And that's the file that you have to click on to open.
Okay, thanks everybody.
Thanks everybody.
Aloha everyone. Thank you so much. Nice
Take
meeting
care.
everyone. Aloha.
Aloha.
Take care.
Good night, everyone. Good job.
Good luck, Ben, and thank you, everybody.